Look who has returned to grace us with his majestic black fluff beauty. It's getting into the colder months now and he's back in his snoozing spot. Good morning and welcome to the first video in my week of Pat McGrath's Celestial Odyssey eyeshadow palette videos. We are going to be doing a full week of looks just focusing on that palette. I did something similar recently with the Mothership 9 Utopian Dream palette. I can link that playlist up in the cards for you if you're interested. But I thought it was so fun and you guys seem to enjoy it so much that I thought, why not discover the potential of this palette together? I would have done it anyway. I would have been doing looks like crazy with it all week. And I thought, why not just take you along this journey so that we can discover this palette together, see what its possibilities are, and then I can come back in the very end of this series and give you a more well-rounded review of this palette in terms of how I feel about the eyeshadows, the color story, the different textures, and who I feel like this is best suited for. So for today's look, in my Demon First Impressions, which you have already seen by now, this video will go up before the video that I'm filming right now. You will have already seen me do something with the more cool-toned eyeshadows in this palette, or like a more cool-toned look. I am going to come back and do more cool-toned looks because I definitely want to have Citrine Envy all over my lid at some point in my week of Celestial Odyssey. But today I actually want to do something a little bit more with like the warmer tones in here. So the first shade I'm going to grab is this one over here. This is like a light matte pink shade and the name of this shade is Electric. And I'm going to fluff Electric through my crease. It's a very pretty shade because it has a little bit of warmth to it, so it almost pulls like a little bit of like a peachy, it has a bit of like a peach undertone to it. It's not a peachy pink, don't get me wrong, but it definitely leans warmer than it leans cooler, which is my preference. Like warmer shades when it comes to pink are my preference. If you own the shade Beautiful Stranger from her Matte Trance lipstick line, I feel like this is the eyeshadow that matches that lipstick. The next shade I'm going to go, actually because this palette is a little bit difficult to be holding up and I'm constantly afraid that I'm going to drop it, I will just tell you what I'm going to do on my lid now. I'm going to take this shade, the shade Lotus Luxe, which was part of her Golden Opulence collection. I'm going to put that in my outer corner and blend it a little bit with Electric. Then I'm going to take this shade, the shade Corrupt Copper, and put it on half of my lid. And then I will put this shade, which is the shade Solar Flare, towards the inner portion of my lid, and I'm going to layer over top of those this shade here, the shade Heavenly Body, which is one of her 24 karat duochrome sparkle shades. I have now loaded my brush with Lotus Luxe, and I'm going to do my best not to get too much fallout. Oh, that actually went a bit better than I expected, okay? So I'm going to apply this shade here onto my outer corner and crease. As you can see, there's nothing scary in using shimmery shades through your crease, especially when Pat McGrath made them. They're they're such beautiful formulas that you can use them for anything because they're super versatile. Next I'm going to grab Intensifies, which is the glitter glue stick type of product that Pat carries in her lineup now, which fits perfectly with more glittery and metallic shades. It just gives them more punch, something to stick to. Highly recommend if you're struggling with her more metallic and foiled formulas flaking down your eyes. Be careful not to apply a layer that's too thick because then it's going to crease a little bit on you. But I'm going to take the tiniest bit more of that Lotus Luxe shade just with my finger because that will make the application more impactful. And I'm going to apply that again, reapply basically here in the outer corner of the eye. Next I'm going to, once again using my finger, go into the shade Corrupt Copper, and I'm going to apply that here onto the like middle portion of the lid. I am familiar with this shade because I have it as a single. I have used it actually quite often in the past few weeks. And last but not least, I'm going to go into the shade Solar Flare, which is like that peachy gold duochrome shade, and I'm going to apply that here all over the inner portion of the lid. This shade definitely has, as does Corrupt Copper, a bit more of like a satin shimmer finish to it. It is not a very like foiled punchy metallic, it is more of a subtle shade. And I think now in my inner corner, just to give a bit more light to the look, I'm going to take the more champagne shade. I don't recall the name of this shade, but it's just your, you know, boring type champagne shade. Going to pop that right here into the inner corner of the eye. And finally, to make this look a little bit more interesting and sparkly, I'm going to take this shade now and layer it pretty much all over everything I put on the lid, because I'm curious what that's going to do, especially over that solar flare shade, which doesn't have a lot of impact on its own. And I will take it also very lightly over top of the shade Corrupt Copper. Oh, I feel like that is actually amplifying the look really beautifully without overtaking the look too much. For my lower lash line, I am going to go back into the palette and apply this shade now, the shade Saturn Sunset, which is another matte shade, and apply that here onto my lower lash line. I feel like it's going to tie the look together and fit the tones that we applied on the upper lid quite well. In my waterline, I'm going to take a little bit of a champagne gold type of pencil just to open up my eyes. So guys, what do we think about this look? I think it's cute. It's like a very romantic, warm-toned pink, pinkish look. Do I like it? Yes, I think it's really cute. Do I like it more than the look I did for my demo video? Absolutely not. But that also has a lot to do with personal preference. I'm more of like a cool-toned, jewel-toned eyeshadow person in comparison to like pink and peach gold person. But with that said, I think the eyeshadows performed beautifully. They layered together, they created a really beautiful effect. Honestly, I don't think that I've seen these tones in her pinks before. So yes, I know she's done many pinks, but I don't feel like I have this specific tone of pink. And personally, I actually quite like this tone of pink. It's like a little bit of like a rose petal pink. It reminds me of some sort of flower, like especially the two like lid and crease shades, but I cannot really tell you what flower. They just remind me of a flower, and I do think the look is really beautiful. The shade Solar Flare here, it is the type of shade that I personally really like a lot, like a peachy gold, but it lacks a little bit of impact. I would have liked for this shade to be a little bit more impactful, but with that said, she has made similar shades which are more impactful, so I feel like you can just layer one of those over top of this one as a base to create a really beautiful effect. So I want to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to shut up now. Please let me know what you thought about this look, and we shall see each other again for the next video in this series. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!